So we talked about the 12 most wanted men, right? And I want to go over now the best of the rest, which is in some cases we're talking about like 5-star dudes, but my selections weren't always the highest rated guy on the board. Like sometimes, for instance, Jameer Perez was on my list. Jameer Perez is a 3-star defensive tackle, but he's a body type that we don't have that I really want in that defensive line room at 6'4", 350 pounds right now. He'll play college football at 330, but that's a dude we want. We want that guy in the middle of the defensive line. And there's really nobody else like him right now on the board. So for me, he made my list of the 12 most wanted. But let's go over the best of the rest. We'll start with safety. And at safety, currently you got Simeon Caldwell, you got Blaine Bradford in the class. I had Braylon Womack on my list. Donovan Webb is another prospect that Ohio State is in close contact with. I love him. 4-star, maybe 350th ranked in the country, out of Texas. He's a great athlete. He's big, 6 foot, 185. Ohio State and Matt Guerrieri, the first big school who got in on him. At the time, he had like TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech, and he was a TCU lean. And then after Ohio State got in on him, Michigan came calling, then Texas offered. And now that Texas has offered, it's like, okay, we'll see where this goes. And will he make a decision before Braylon Womack? Obviously, the Buckeyes would love to have a guy like Joey O'Brien or Jet Washington or Jyree Edwards, 3 guys we've talked about that are very highly rated throughout the process. I think the ship has sailed for Ohio State on all 3 of those guys. But Donovan Webb seems like a likely guy. I know he loves Ohio State. I've talked to him about Ohio State. Really, really loves it. Really enamored with it. And should they not land Braylon Womack, he's definitely in the mix, though not as much as he was before Texas offered. At corner, we obviously got Jordan Thomas on our list, and now we've got Jordan Thomas in the class. Jordan Thomas joins Jacob Weatherspoon as the 2 cornerbacks in the class. Buckeyes will still obviously keep going hard after Justice Fitzpatrick, who is Minkah Fitzpatrick's little brother, and he's out of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale. Great instincts, ball hawk, lays the wood, really quick in small spaces, about 6 foot 1.5. So he's a big, tall kid, 185 pounds, top 100 overall, and he would be tops on the list. And then you have Nasir McCoy, who's now going by NASCAR McCoy, 6'2", 180, out of Buford High School, 4-star, top 300 prospect, who Ohio State's had a long relationship with. And this was at kind of a lull for a long time. I don't know that it's picked up a ton right now, but there's no doubt Justice Fitzpatrick is the number 1 guy now on that board for Tim Walton. At linebacker, I had 2 linebackers on my top 12 most wanted men. And that's Sincere Johnson out of Glenville, Tyler Atkinson out of Georgia, Grayson High School in Georgia. Another guy who would be on the best of the rest would be Jacob Eberhardt out of Missouri, who is a guy that's a pretty dynamic athlete at 6'3", 200. We watched this film. He's all over the field. The guy plays every position. Like he's a receiver. He's a running back. He was a safety. He was a linebacker. But he's a linebacker in college, and he is got some really big offers despite not being very highly ranked. But after him, it's kind of slim pickings for the other guys, as the guys that Laurinaitis was in on early. They're all committed elsewhere, and there's not really much left on the board. So it becomes pretty important that, well, he's got to land at least one of them. And I think he will. I think Sincere is definitely going to be a Buckeye. But further past Eberhardt, you can look at Jaden Roper, who's a guy that Ohio State really his only big offer. He's out of Chaminade Madonna, which is obviously Jeremiah Smith's school and a school you want to be close to. Only rated by 1 service. I don't think there's much momentum with him at all, but he's there if you really want, somebody at the very end of the class. Should you miss out on Atkinson and Sincere, I think you probably flip somebody or at least try really hard. There's also CJ Sibley out of Buford High School, and 6'1", 185, not yet rated, but got some big offers, LSU, Georgia, Michigan. So some big time offers. A little puzzling as to why he's not rated yet, but he's also a potential option. But all the eggs are in the basket of Sincere Johnson and Tyler Atkinson. Jacob Everhart would be the third in line there. On the defensive line, obviously there are no defensive line commitments. And on the top 12 list, because of that, we had 5 defensive linemen with PJ Dean, Deuce Geralds, Luke Waffle, Carter Meadows, JJ Perez. The Buckeyes and Larry Johnson just went and saw Damari Simeon. He is the number 2 player in New Jersey. We watched his film here. We loved his film. He is 6'3", 275, really quick, really looks to love football. Dude's a grinder, 4-star, top 200 overall, and not getting talked about much, but I think there's some momentum there. Then you got Carter Lucky, who's out of Georgia, big dude in the middle, 6'5", 280. His dad is one of 3 triplets. Obviously, they're triplets. One of 3 triplets, and all 3 of them played at Georgia. They're the Lucky twins. Found this out from my buddy Stuart on Twitter. He's one of our dog fans who watches JUCK on Bucks every day, which is strange, but hey, we love everybody from all fan bases. But yeah, he's a son of triplets that played at Georgia, also has an older brother currently at Georgia. But hey, if you can pull Blaine Bradford out of Louisiana and his older brother is a freshman at LSU, I don't know. You can do anything, right? I also think they're going to pull PJ Dean. Well, not out of Georgia. He's from North Carolina, but his brother went to Georgia and just now going into the NFL. But 4-star, top 300 overall recruit, and he's got the Buckeyes in his top 5. I would put him under Jameer Perez just because I really like Perez, but he was probably the next in line there. You also got 2 IMG guys. Cam Brickle is another big kid in the middle, 6'2", 300 pounds, a big plug. He's a 3-star, 520th ranked kid in the country, but big time offers: Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Oklahoma, Penn State, Texas, USC. Everybody wants him. Came to visit Ohio State, really likes Ohio State, has not narrowed his list down yet. I also really liked Tyson Bacon, who we watched his film after he decommitted from Tennessee. The Buckeyes had offered him maybe like 3 days before he did that, and I thought maybe that meant that there was some momentum there. 4-star, top 300 kid, 6'3", 270 from Hoover, Alabama. We'll see if he's interested in coming up north, but I don't know if he's got an official schedule or not yet. I'll find that out and let you know. And then we got Preston Carey. I really like Preston Carey. Preston Carey has an official. Preston Carey, another big dude in the middle. He is the other IMG kid, and he's about 6'4", 280. Really loves the weight room. As a matter of fact, he's up to 300 now. He's up to 300. Loves the weight room. He's a beast for a high school kid now. This kid is he's a pretty good film. Not super twitchy, but man, that's not what I need. I need some big dudes in the middle, and he certainly fits the bill. So he's got Ohio State down there on his top 6 now, and he's certainly in play. Jake Cruel, also from IMG, borderline 5-star kid, 6'3", 225, very polished, wins the MVP at every camp he goes to, does a backflip like Joey Boza, nowhere near as big as Joey, but great with his moves, great with his hands. He's got he's had a great coach, that's for sure. Huge personality. The kid takes videos everywhere he goes and posts them, and big time social media guy. Kind of reminds me of that one walk-on that got kicked off the team. Remember the one walk-on that got kicked off the team? Posts all his stuff on Instagram. It reminds me of that kid, except he's not a dweeb. But Texas, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Colorado, Florida. Got visits with those 5. Ohio State, feeling good about this, man. Feels like they're about top 2 or 3. I would be ecstatic about him. He just missed the cut for my top 12. It was either him or Carter Meadows, and I'm taking Carter Meadows over anybody, but this kid could very well end up a Buckeye, and I'd be thrilled. Then you've got Jackson Ford out of Malvern, Pennsylvania. Feels like Penn State and Michigan are ahead of Ohio State, but the Buckeyes are in there. 6'4", 240, 4-star, top 300 overall. He's a stud. Bucks are in on it. And then there's Keyshawn Elizer. Now, I wasn't thrilled when Ohio State offered this kid because of his size. He's 6'6", and he was like 180 pounds, really, really skinny. And it looked like maybe the type that was going to be a really hard gainer, have a difficult time putting weight on. But he's put on a little bit of weight now. In his film, he's a lot stronger than you would think a kid that skinny would be. Now, he's still a 3-star, but he's on the cusp of becoming a 4-star at about the number 420th player in the country. Really fast, and obviously he needs several years to develop with an Ohio State level strength and conditioning program. But now we're starting to see some other big schools get interested now that Ohio State has. And it'll be interesting to see what this kid does in college because he is so skinny, but at 6'6" with the length, it could be interesting. And then there's Landon Barnes, obviously. Can't forget Landon Barnes. Has an official scheduled. He's from Duncanville in Texas. Pretty elite kid. And I don't hear much about him, but obviously he's got an official schedule. He's still on the board with the Buckeyes. Kevin Ford, another kid from down there, I don't think there's any momentum with him at all. So yes, with Landon Barnes. I don't think so with Kevin Ford. The Harris twins out of North Carolina, they're off the board. They're off the board for me. I don't think I'm so irritated with them. Not them. I mean, we talk about living up to the expectations. Well, they never set the expectations that Ohio State was the leader. A lot of other people did. And I was a sucker and fell for it. I never talked to them. So I thought that the Buckeyes were really, really in tight with the Harris twins. They had the crystal balls and everything. Certainly doesn't feel that way anymore. When they came out with their initial official visits, Ohio State wasn't on there. And then I guess they said they were going to schedule it recently. I don't know if that got scheduled or yet, but even if they come, I think that they are Auburn or South Carolina. And on the offensive line, we had on our top 12 list, Felix Ojo out of Texas, Darius Gray out of Virginia. Should the Buckeyes miss out on either of them, Tyler Bowen has situated himself in such a way where he's got his hands in cookie jars all over the country. Obviously, that starts with Micah Smith, who has been a longtime Buckeye lean. 4-star, top 170 kid, 6'5.5", 325, Vero Beach in Florida. TJ Alford's teammate. It feels like it may not be as, I don't know, it feels like maybe it's moving the other way, moving the bad way, to be honest. I could have a misread on it, but at one point it felt like a pretty doggone sure thing, and I don't think it feels like a pretty doggone sure thing right now. Then you got Drew Evers out of Flower Mound, Texas, 4-star, top 200. Feels very much like Texas A&M and Ohio State here for him. 4-star, top 200 guy. I just said that. Very good chance he ends up a Buckeye, to be honest, which is amazing. We're sitting here talking about like top 200 guys and top 100 type guys. Like, it's just like, yeah, he'll probably end up a Buckeye on the offensive line. It's been a long time, man. You got another one, Samuel Rosenberg. Samuel Rosenberg out of Clearwater, Florida, another top 200 kid, 6'5", 285. We watched his film. I really liked him. He's really high on the Bucks and Florida State as well. So Ohio State looks like they're maybe in his top 2, which is amazing. Another top 200 kid. Aaron Thomas. That's a kid who's maybe a top 600 kid, but it's only because he just moved from defense to offense. This is the guy that is, I think he's like 6'7", 300. And when he came up and visited, I talked to him right before he came up and visited. You might remember I told you his family, all from Cleveland and big Buckeye fans. So he was really excited about that. And Texas A&M is pushing really hard for him. I think he probably ends up there, but Ohio State's in it at the top of his list. You still got Duron Parks on the board out there from Hurricane, West Virginia. At one time was a pretty heavy Ohio State lean, and he grew up a Buckeye fan, ended up moving to Florida. and he's in Sarasota. 4-star top 300 guy, 6'5", 350, needs to lose some weight. Things don't seem, I don't feel like Tyler Bowen ever really was too interested in him. This was a fry guy. And while he's still out there and it's a potential, I think it's just another cookie jar that Tyler Bowen's got his hand in. Should he need to go that direction? I don't think it happens, though. Then you got Chance Campbell in Florida, another guy, 6'6", 270. He really likes the tall kids. 3-star, top 500 kid, developmental guy, but got some big offers in Penn State, Ohio State, Florida, Miami, all those schools in good shape. And then you got JB Shabazz. Fry originally offered him a big 320-pounder out of North Carolina. I hate his film. He looks like he doesn't like to play football, and I just can't get behind that at all. So Ohio State, Auburn, North and South Carolina, all in there for him. At running back, Savion Hyder was on the list. I do obviously think, as I've said before, that Ohio State gets favor a key, though I'm a little annoyed he's not in the class. Let me tell you why. Like, I root so hard for these Ohio kids to get the offer. They want the offer. They say they want the offer. And then they get the offer, and then all of a sudden it's on. Let me screw around and go visit USC. Let me putz about and make my decision some other time. And I'm going to go see Miami again. It's like, man, what are you doing? Everybody knows you're going to Ohio State. What are you up to here? What kind of games you pulling here? Let's go, favor. Get in this class, man. Let's party. Derek Cooper definitely on the board. He's a beast. Chaminade Madonna, 5-star, number 2 back in the class. He is an athletic steamroller, big, strong, fast, plays everywhere, loves football, unlike JB Shabazz. Total stud back. Was committed to Georgia, decommitted. Could he be like Jared Curtis and end up recommitting to Georgia? I actually think he could. I actually think that's probably where the smart money is at right now, that he ends up in that class. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of momentum with Ohio State and him. And Jay Lamar at one point was my number 2. You know, I love Jay Lamar. Jay Lamar, not going to happen. Jay Lamar scheduled his officials. Ohio State is not one of them. The reason I'm bringing these guys up, and I don't think they're going to be Buckeyes, is if Derek Cooper commits to Georgia, and I think he probably will, and Jay Lamar commits elsewhere, Savion Hyder looking for a home here, down to Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Tennessee. Obviously, Georgia going to take Derek Cooper and Savion Hyder. And if they get the 2 of them, like, I quit. I just quit. But I don't think they will. I don't think Savion Hyder wants to be in a class with Derek Cooper. Maybe he does. Who knows? We just saw Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins play together and choose to do so. So maybe guys are doing that now. I just don't think so. I don't think so. I think if Derek Cooper goes to Georgia, then it's Ohio State, Michigan for Savion Hyder. And if that's the case, at one point I felt like Michigan was the leader here. But I think it's more of a coin flip now. And I can't wait to see, man. I can't wait to see. But, man, you also got the stuff going on with Michigan. You got to think at some point these recruits are starting to take notice here, right? Like, at some point they got to look at this and say, wait a minute. Do I want to go there and potentially get a postseason ban? I don't know, man. Listen to the good life advice, guys. Listen to JUCK on Bucks. The most likely running back, if we're honest, in this class to be paired with Favor Akey is Carson Baker. Carson Baker out of Langston Hughes, 6 foot 195, 4-star, top 200 kid, top 15 back in the class. Look, I like the kid. He's really fast. He's got a 10.5 100 meter. He's not too shifty. I don't think he creates a ton, but he's really fast. And you watch his highlights. There's not a lot between the tackles. It's a lot of around the end. And he's certainly got a ton of skills. He's just not in the category of Cooper, Savion Hyder, or Jay Lamar to me. Nor is Favor Akey. So landing those 2, it would be a really good class. But neither one of them's on Bo Jackson's level to me. We'll put it that way. So there we go. All right, my friends. At quarterback, there's not a whole lot going on. I told you the last 2 guys, I heard the Bucks were in on Briggs Cherry. Wanted to watch him throw out of the Bulls school, who is committed to Louisville. He's a 3-star, 6'4", 220. Not a ton there, but Cade Kaufman, who I really liked, His film was great. Michigan State commit out of Michigan. He's 6'3", 190, 4-star, top 300 kid. So he's a highly rated kid. And we'll see if they're kicking the tires on either one of these guys. Neither of them have offers, but who knows? All right, that's it